The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
When the crowds were increasing, Jesus began to say, "This generation is an evil generation. It asks for a sign. But no sign will be given to it except the sign of Jonah. For just as Jonah became a sign to the people of Nineveh, so the Son of Man will be to this generation. The Queen of the South will rise at the judgment with the people of this generation and condemn them, because she came from the ends of the earth to listen to the wisdom of Solomon. And see, something greater than Solomon is here. The people of Nineveh will rise up at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the proclamation of Jonah. And see, something greater than Jonah is here." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. As a Jew, Jesus would have been very familiar with the story of Jonah, this reluctant prophet who did everything in his power to avoid the mission that God had for him until God, the God of all creation, including the land and the sea, caused a storm which resulted in Jonah being thrown overboard until he finally got swallowed up by the whale and spat up on the beach to conclude the mission that God had for him. So when Jesus is asked for miracles and a nice solution and some razzle-dazzle, he says, nope, the only sign you get is the experience of Jonah. I think what he's saying is conversion happens only after we've spent some days in the belly of a whale. And you know something? I kind of think that's where our church is at, that we're in the belly of a whale. So much, I think, has caused upheaval. I think the sexual abuse scandals, clericalism, our condemnation of different things, I think it has so alienated the church, so that it's almost like God says, well, I'm just going to fire you into the belly of a whale, let you sit there in the dark for a time, and then I'm going to spit you up, and you can go about what you're supposed to do from the beginning. I kind of think that's sort of what's going on. Interestingly, our diocese is beginning this parish pastoral renewal program, which is going to be our focus for the next 3 years. Really interesting. So it lines up with what's going on in Rome. It's also going to give us as a diocese a chance to come back to our beginnings, to come to our senses about what we're supposed to be about, let go of the preoccupations that have distracted us, and set out to have these conversations with people on the edges about the meaning of life, which is what Jonah finally reluctantly did, and it produced this wonderful conversion of the people of Nineveh. I think that's what is in store for us. We're kind of in the belly of the whale at the moment, but God's going to spit us up on the beach, and we can finally come to our senses and say, oh, that's what I was supposed to be about from the very beginning. To proclaim Jesus Christ crucified and risen in me, not in a catechism book, in me, not in some pamphlet we hand out, in me. Jesus Christ crucified and died in me. That's the story we have to learn how to tell. And if we can tell that story, and that's what Jonah eventually told the people of Nineveh, that he'd been crucified, died, spent 3 days in the belly of a whale, and is now risen. And look what it did. It produced all of this wonderful result. So as many of you have said, we should be very hopeful, but we've got a few days in the belly of a whale to get us there. So be patient, put up with the darkness. eventually we're going to find ourselves on the beach, and we're going to know what we're supposed to be doing. So let's stand and offer our prayers now for our church and for our work.